Hi everyone. I'd like to thank the club for giving me the opportunity to present the Fos Williams Medal. When my mum died last year, my husband Mark, Ellen and I moved into the family house, which Fos and Von built. Part of this heritage included 30 huge boxes of clippings, speeches, photos and mementos of football over the last 60 years. It was amongst these items that I found my dad's theories on football and people management. In looking at them, what totally amazed me was the writings on psychology of winning and leadership would stand up in any current best practice scenario. It made me realise just how special he was as a leader of men. Let me spend 3 minutes introducing my father and the reason this award, voted for players by the player, exists. Fos Williams grew up in a family where losing wasn't an option, and proving that to yourself and then everyone else was very important. The common theme I can find from those who played with him or those under him was that he totally inspired other people by the way he played. He'd run all day, he'd lead by example and would always be at the ball. Dad had an ability to inspire others around him and would motivate men to do the improbable and defy any feelings of self-doubt. He could get players to do anything because he believed in himself and his cause. Fos believed that progress was only possible by enthusiasm for the future rather than looking back and reflecting past glory. He never lived in the past and he embraced change. Fos's greatest regret, when you read, was that watching a naturally gifted player who denied himself greatness by lack of self-discipline. He started the creed at Port Adelaide to ensure everyone in the club felt they had a part in pushing Port Adelaide forward. He never scored votes with umpires. This was considered for 2 reasons. He continually appraised the umpire's performance, but more importantly, many of the umpires objected to the verbal demands he made on his team. He yelled at players for mistakes and for not sticking to the plans they made. It didn't make them any less of a person or that he cared any less about them, but in being desperate to win, the player had to be ready for the next passage of play. He did not like losing, but realised that was part of life. The difference was he always knew it was temporary and believed winning was always around the corner. Fos hated mediocrity, and though he despaired of the no-hopers, he absolutely detested, as he called them, white ants. These are people who eat at the foundations of a club from within. They came out when we weren't winning, and Fos knew he was willing to bleed for the club. He believed these pests had their own agenda for glory rather than for Port Adelaide Football Club at heart. Dad believed to be successful, belonging, belief in a cause and self-sacrifice was necessary for everyone. His speeches are littered with the sacrifice that the women of the club had to make. Often no social life, odd days sleeping on the couch, having partners who went to bed by, he said, 8:30 at the latest, and holidays were never on the agenda. Importantly, Fos dictated that it was the players who count most at Alberton. They were the ones charged with preserving the Port Adelaide tradition with their lives and safety on the field. It is all about honour in battle. For them to believe in the club, the club must acknowledge their contribution and ensure they are fairly rewarded. If money is the only thing players hear or expect as a reward, we will not win. The money comes second to the cause, and the cause must be noble and the reward should last a lifetime. I personally hate this time of year in the AFL, and I'm sure Fos would have. The very nature of delisting is so contrary to what he believed in. Sure, players were dropped, but they used to be able to stay and play in the twos. The best barbecues under the old stand were always held for the twos. These days, if you're not on the list, there's very little chance to tell you how much you belong. Well, I'm here to tell you that if Port Adelaide has been part of you, you belong. It may be soon, it may be later, but the fact that you've been with us, you are family, and family is forever. I will say that again, you belong and family is forever. This is the true legacy of Fos. Finally, his greatest challenge then came as a non-playing coach after being able to lead from the field. I'm not sure he consciously knew it, but in order to be successful with the team, he had to make others like him. He had to find others who were out there. He had to have those sort of players as part of the team. Fos would be so honoured to have this medal named after him, but torn just a little in the concept. He believed we built a club based on team effort, not individuals. And I know he would believe that for us to win, every player must believe that they deserve this medal. On that note, and with a reminder that Fos had his tough years but never stopped believing, the player voted by their peers as showing the qualities of leadership, courage, professionalism, loyalty, selflessness and humour that make them an outstanding man amongst men, I'm really pleased to say is Dominic Cassisi.